Hey everybody, welcome to the Bronx Edulution. My name is Timothy Stone Dancer Coleman. I am the Director of Education here at BronxNet and your host for this amazing show. Now, this is going to be an awesome episode where we're going to recap everything that we've been through this season because this is our final episode for season 2. So for everything that has been trying to steal your focus, I just want to say we really appreciate you for tuning in, for supporting us. We've gotten all your emails, we've gotten all the phone calls. They have definitely, given me another level of energy and excitement for the work that I do. Thank you so much for sharing how these episodes have helped you get from initial concept in your mind of what you might want to release into the world, all the way to the point of potentially purchasing a class and coming here and meeting us in person and learning how to do all of this fun stuff for yourself. After this next message, we'll be right back. We're going to do a great review. And again, thank you for tuning in.
Welcome to Season 2 of the new Bronx Edulution. We've got something great in store for you. I'm Timothy Coleman, Director of Education for BronxNet and your host for the show. Our rich history and culture are rediscovered through the stories of community members who take pride in our borough while sharing their journey towards success. Get ready to be uplifted and entertained. Me and the crew welcome you to the brand new Bronx Edulution.
Welcome back to the Bronx Edulution, everybody. Our mission is to create a safe space where community members can laugh and learn together. As I explained to you before, we're going to do a recap of our season and reintroduce you to some of the amazing people that I've had an opportunity to interview and to share with you so that you could get to learn about all of the cool people that work here at BronxNet who are helping make your vision and your dreams come true. Now, if you remember episode 1, we spoke about perseverance and how important it is not to give up. Our guest that day was Ms. Kibben Aline, who works here at BronxNet. And as a quick reminder, the definition was a steady persistence in a course of action, a purpose, a state, etc., especially in spite of difficulties, obstacles, or discouragement. Now, Kibben dropped a couple of $1 million nuggets that I think it would be good for us to hear again. Check out this clip. What would you say, right, as like the TV mentor to people that we may not ever get a chance to meet, what would you say to folks about the importance of perseverance, the importance of having clear goals, and about never giving up?
I would say that, for me, I know I said it a few times already, but, really going to school, and, I went to community college at first, which at the time I wasn't super proud of, right? I was like, I want to go to, these big, Ivy League schools, and, sometimes, when you're 18, you kind of feel, small that you, go to, a local college, right? But it was there that I realized, these are some things that I can explore. And also, because I went to a school in the Bronx that wasn't, it was a really great school, but, we just didn't have all the resources that we needed. So sometimes I felt like I was a little bit behind, especially in something like writing, where that's super important, in journalism, or, even speaking publicly and, how I sound to the world and how the world will perceive me.
Yes,
that was,
yes,
something that I was, conscious about. And, coming from a school in the Bronx where, again, they try their hardest, but maybe they weren't teaching me oh, maybe you should say these things, or this is how you write. So I would say don't overlook those small opportunities. Maybe you don't feel the best about going to a community college, and in some cases people will say oh, it's 13th grade, right? I feel sometimes you need that step.
In episode 2 of this season, we spoke about faith and the power of believing in yourself. Our guest was Mr. Angel Gonzalez. Sometimes we have to have faith, but we also have to have the wisdom to know that as long as we are preparing ourselves for that next thing, then it will happen at exactly the right time. Angel shared some amazing stories about his family and how important faith has been in his path of his work history. So take a listen to this and let us know what you think.
I've actually had a good foundation. My family was always supportive. They even gifted me, after I graduated from college, a DSLR camera, a Canon. It was very good. I even done music videos with my sister, trying to get a good foot in the door for my own self. And, I had a good support system. I know other people, they may not have good support systems, but it's what starts from inside of them. That's what gives them that hope, and then they're able to walk out of the doors. So, I say to the audience that it just takes one step at a time, and you're able to deliver what you have in your creative mind, and you could push it forward to the people.
Welcome back to the Bronx Edulution. We're doing a review today of our episodes from season 2, and we're going to keep the momentum going with episode 3. We spoke about charity and feeding the poor. Our special guest was Mr. Benaiah War. Now, the definition is generous actions or donations to aid people who are poor, ill, or needy. We had an amazing conversation that covered quite a few topics, right? But I want you to take a peek at this and let us know what you think.
I like to say faith is foundation. If you don't have faith, it's impossible to do anything. First, you have to see it before you do it. First, you have to see it before you manifest it, right? And so I think faith for me was a foundation that helped me to believe even in times where I was down, even in times where I didn't look like I was going to do anything or create anything. Faith always helps me hold on and gives me hope in times of trouble. Uplifting people, it fills me up, it fills my cup. And I think seeing that other people can have hope too,
that's right,
and you can be able to give hope to others and share the light that you have with them also, and see the joy that's on their face as well when they receive it.
Right.
Oh man, there's nothing like it.
Thank you, Benaiah, again for being a guest on our show. And for a little piece of trivia for those that don't know, in case they ever decide to make a game out of all of this, Benaiah is also the director of the Bronx Edulution. So it's always great that we can pull in people that have multiple different types of jobs and positions here at BronxNet to give you a better taste of all the different things that you could be doing as you get on the path of your entertainment career. So we're going to keep this momentum going, and we're going to move forward to episode 4, where we spoke about purpose and finding your path. Our guest was Miss Brittany Albane, and she shared some really fundamental, amazing things about what that has meant in her life. As a quick reference, the definition is the reason for which something exists or is done, made, or used. Check this out.
When I think of purpose, I always think of intention. What is my intention with everything that I'm doing?
That's good.
And I feel like in a way that really helped me in my career because, as we spoke earlier, entertainment, pop culture, that's my thing, but it also becomes a slippery slope because sometimes it could be very tabloidy and very, exploiting people and exploiting emotions and feelings and all of that. So the more I grew in this career, the more that I learned, what is my intention with telling this story? If it's something that's not going to make somebody feel something, and if it's something that's not important, why do it? Specifically in this job,
Yeah.
We cover a lot of things that are sometimes very hard to watch and hard to, stomach.
Yeah.
So for me, I always think about, simple is best. And that was something that I learned coming into on my own. Because I remember I first started my first shoot, I came with all these questions and being so complex. But what I noticed was when you ask a complex question, you're going to get a complex answer.
Right.
And with TV, you only get 10 seconds to give that soundbite, right? So sometimes then I would go through my sound bites and I'm like, but you don't understand this if it's not in the full context. And I can't put a minute soundbite in there.
Right.
So I really learned the simple, the better. And then I think also I've learned to kind of make it my own and make it my own style. Of course, if it's something more serious, I'm not throwing puns in there. I'm not doing that.
Right, it's appropriate.
But,
Right.
But for when I'm doing stories that it's hey, these are things I pitched, maybe something in my niche, I always like to keep it very lighthearted, very playful, very fun, bring in references and all of that to kind of make it where, like you mentioned, multi-generational, where maybe if one person doesn't pick up a reference, somebody else will. And
Right.
so, make it for the whole family.
The Bronx Edulution. We are Bronx Strong.
Welcome back to the Bronx Edulution. I'm Timothy Stone Dancer Coleman, Director of Education here at BronxNet, and also your host for this amazing show. Now, if you've been paying attention in the last couple of segments, you know that we're doing a review of Season 2. We're up to episode number 5. Our episode was about integrity and doing what's right. Our guest was Mr. Stephen Powell. Stephen shared how this word has affected his life as he has moved from pre-BronxNet to how it has helped him with his job and how it has helped him focus on what's to come. The definition is adherence to moral and ethical principles. Character, honesty, you get it. Check this out.
I knew that I wanted to do something in media, but I had kind of been fumbling through the dark, kind of trying to get a feel for things. I initially I entered into this space as an intern in the reporting realm of things in front of the camera. Obviously doing things behind the camera now, but I wanted to do something that would land me in a position that I could tell stories and also be somebody that was a part of a team and in a collaborative effort into making great TV. So eventually the idea was proposed to me by, again, the Garrison Soul, but Marisa, she approached me, I think March or April of 2019 with just a suggestion or an idea. It was like, hey, have you ever thought of producing? I said no, and I was the quickest no I've ever said in my life. Integrity is more than just an act. It's more than just a tagline. It's a daily walk. It's a daily action. It's a repetition. It's a practice. It's a habit for me. Something that I take near and dear to me because of the way that I was brought up by my mother and father and my grandmother. And just the way that I kind of carry about the way that I go about doing this job in terms of just treating people with the level of respect and integrity that I would want reflected for myself and reciprocated for myself. Nice. I think that's something that's really important for me.
Thank you, Stephen, for sharing those amazing points. We're up to episode number 6, Hope in Dark Times. This was an opportunity for me to sit down with our Director of Marketing, Ms. Natalia Perez, as she shared how having hope, having patience, having perseverance, some of the other topics that we have spoken about throughout this season, how they all came together in the moment when she shared that she lost her daughter and her father at the same time. Now, the definition is the feeling that what is wanted can be had or that events will turn out for the best. Listen to Natalia as she shares with you some pretty heavy stuff, but how she got through it in such an inspirational way.
I always say to focus on the positive, not the negative, and when that tragedy hit me, I could have dwelled every day, every minute, for months, for years about my dad and my daughter who passed, right? My daughter was only 10. Yeah. She had her whole life ahead of her. She would have been 18 this year. My dad was 65. He was an Army veteran and fought in the Vietnam War. And I think about the happiness and the joy they brought to me in my life. But then I look down and I see my beautiful children that are still alive. Yes. They survived that accident. They were right there and they could have been killed too. And so when I look at them as such a blessing, right? And then I also think about the other 2 children that I had after that. And so my kids are like part of what keep me going, my husband as well, he's been the backbone ever since then, very supportive since day one. And I just think that they are the spirit that lifts me up. That's like, you got to keep going. When things like that happen, you have these little faces looking up at you saying, what do we do next, Mom? And I had to just say, come on, we're getting ready. We're going to school. We're doing this. We're going here. We're going to travel. Yeah. And it also brought me to BronxNet because, this is a passion of mine. I love television. I love media. Yeah. And when I actually got this job working as a director of marketing, it was such a dream come true job for me because it was mixing my 2 loves, which is marketing, which I really had a strong background over so many years of working between makeup, between film, between, television, and then also doing, working with the community, which is something that I'm very passionate about as well.
Welcome back to the Bronx Edulution, everybody. So as you know, we're doing a review of Season 2. We're up to episode number 7, which was all about community. Now, inside, I am trying to hold back a ton of laughter because our guest was Miss Vesely Bieto. Now, Vesely is a member of our marketing team, and she's so full of joy. If you saw the episode, I mean, I'm sure it felt like she could just like reach through right into your living room and touch you while you eat your Pop-Tarts, okay? She was bouncing around the set before her segment and, you know, just making us laugh and keeping us joyous, which is exactly what you need, not only in your job, but also in your view of life. Vesely's one of those people that every time I come into contact with her, I feel like, you know, everything's gonna be all right, right? Now, the definition of community is a social group of any size whose members reside in a specific locality and often have a common cultural and historical heritage. Now, as you're gonna see in this next clip, Vesely is so close with her family, and I just thought she just honored them so much in the way that she spoke about them. Check out this clip, and then don't forget to email us at education@bronxnet.org and let us know what you think about this episode.
I feel like what really helps me be myself unapologetically all the time ties back to the theme of today's show. It's community. I'm Dominican, and I have a mom we have the same birthday. We do, January 4th. We have the same birthday. We look alike. We act the same. I think having an example of someone who was unapologetically themselves all of the time. Like, she's the type, Tim, that she'll dance right here, take her stuff off, and she'll just start partying. Like, she dances to the beat of her own drum all of the time, and she's unapologetic about it.
I love it.
And I think having an example in my own community, someone who looked like me, someone who spoke like me, someone who, she just so happened to be related to me, but having that example of somebody who's told themselves made me feel like it's okay for me to be myself.
Yeah.
I think I use other people as inspiration for how I would like things to be or how I don't want things to be. Mm-hmm. I'm constantly learning. I'm always trying to be teachable and just trying to learn. So entering environments where people aren't themselves makes me want to like be myself even more. If I'm going to be in a career, I want to be in a career where, of course, I'm going to be professional. Of course, I'm going to be 100% there and do my job well, but I want to be myself.
That's right.
And that's what I love about BronxNet. We are about the Bronx. We're about the people of the Bronx.
That's
and
right.
I can truly be myself here. I think, like I said, having a community, an example of someone who can be themselves makes you want to be yourself as well.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Timothy Stone Dancer Coleman, Director of Education with BronxNet, and your host for the Bronx Edulution. Don't mind me, I'm just, look at that. Episode 8, we were speaking about vision, creating something new. Now, our guest was Mr. Nicholas Marrero. Nicholas shared how vision has impacted his life as he's worked through all of the different positions that have led him to where he is today. The definition of vision is the act or power of anticipating that which will or may come true. So listen to this clip, and I hope that it affects you the same way it impacted me when I spoke with Nicholas. What role has vision played in your life? Like, are you intentional about it, or are you a person that you feel like, yeah, I have vision, and here's how I put it all together?
Actually, that's a really good question. It's kind of like 50-50. You know, working like with all the folks here, like at BronxNet Spaces, that's actually really good for someone such as myself. Like when I'm directing, I always like to get feedback from the producers, as well as some of the hosts for our different shows, and see like how can we like elevate and take things to the next level. Yeah. Because even though like again, it was a bit of a difficult transition coming back into our studio spaces, like after the whole COVID-19 pandemic, so.
Yes.
So, it was a matter of like first, let's get back to where we were. And then at the same time, now with the whole Central, it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Right. And then I'm trying to like reflect that into the quality of the productions that we're doing here in our studio spaces. So, I always try to keep a good eye out. At least for me, like I'm very nitpicky with my work. Yeah. I always like to make sure, like, especially like once we complete a show, I always like reviewing the shows over just to see, hey, what did I do good? Right. What did I do?
What can you learn from?
Yeah, what can I learn from? What can I have done better?
Time?
Exactly. Yeah. And then especially like that's in more of a directing approach, and then more as a supervisor approach. That's vision plays a large role because I'm trying to figure out. Because for me, this is my first time really trying to be like in a supervisor type of role. And I'm trying to take it day by day, and I'm trying to do the best that I can for my team. Yeah. So in this sense, I want to make sure like I can see that we have a long-term plan and how we're doing our operations here now and moving forward in the future.
Welcome back, community. I'm so glad that you're still with us. This is our review of everything that we've done here in season 2, where we're reintroducing you to some of the folks that have come and been guests on our show. Now, everybody knows that this part of each episode was always my favorite because it gave me a chance to introduce you to all of the amazing people that work here at BronxNet who are seeking to help you bring your vision to life. In episode 9, we spoke about preparation with our guest, Audrey Duncan. Now, Audrey is an integral part here at BronxNet because it's her job to ensure that our local, city, and state officials understand the work that we're doing on behalf of the community and to help carve out some sort of a pathway for us at BronxNet to receive additional funding. Audrey and I took a stroll across the studio as we discussed how she prepares to meet with elected officials, how she has witnessed the things outside of her window in the Bronx, and how she has taken her love for community and turned it into a passion that has lasted for a lifetime. Check out this clip. In your family, was there someone that was in nonprofit? Was there someone that was in, some sort of a job or an inspiration to you, so that kind of got you into this particular type of work?
A good question. Never thought of it that way before, but actually I would have to say yes because my father is actually minister.
Oh, okay.
And so he and my mother, I guess you could say they were in service to the community no matter what they were doing.
Right.
I always observed them definitely being voters and being interested in, whatever was going on in government and in the community as well as in the church. There are passion projects that I want to implement here as well as, just maybe independently. And I would say here, I would love to just take advantage of linking up with the creatives here to involve some of our organizations in utilizing our new, for example, immersive studio to imagine some change they would like to see in their neighborhood or in their block.
Yes.
And we're working with that organization for them to show people what it looks like and then maybe help them get to their whoever elected officials and so on to help make that really happen. So I think
that's a
passion project I would like to do here.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Timothy Stone Dancer Coleman, Director of Education for BronxNet and your host for the Bronx Edulution. This episode has been about a review of Season 2. We've made it up to episode number 10, our final episode to share with you in this big seasonal recap. Our topic, I think some of you are going to remember, because this is when some of you decided to grab the remote and start panicking because our conversation was all about sacrifice. And who wants to hear about sacrifice? We don't want to sacrifice. We don't want to give until it hurts. No, not me. But why not? This is the thing. You are always going to find someone who is worse off than you. You're always going to run into someone where a little bit of kindness, a little bit of love, it is not always financial, a little bit of your time could make the greatest difference in their life. Our guest for episode 10 was Miss Latricia Burton. And I really enjoyed speaking with Latricia because aside from the nuggets that she was sharing, these little moments of knowledge, she also was giving some inside information that those of you who might want to take classes here at BronxNet, she was giving some inside information about how you're going to be able to activate that knowledge and help work towards whatever your goals are as you come into entertainment. How does that usually work, the creative process of that?
So with the creative process, the vision is through the producer.
Okay.
So the idea of how the show's set up, the shots and stuff, those are through the producer.
Okay.
And when it comes to how it's supposed to look, it's the execution between the producer and the director.
Got it.
So you collaborate in the effort of, this is what I envision. Mm-hmm. Can you execute it the same way that I had envisioned it? When it comes to, in relation to the host, it's, can the information, does it relate well to you? Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't give you a script to read and you're not comfortable reading it.
Right.
So
right.
I want to be able to have that collaboration of, can I write the script in a way that sounds like you? exactly the way how you were sounding it, all the little
That's a true skill.
And you have to make sure as you're writing that script, you're hearing their voice.
Okay.
Because if you're hearing it in your voice, it wouldn't sound natural to them.
Right.
So once you kind of figure out those moving pieces, once you start the show, your hands is off the wheel. That sacrifice starts at that point. Your hands off the wheel because you have to have faith in the crew that you're working with.
Okay.
And once you're sitting in that seat and you're pressing record, you're monitoring how the show's running. And there might be a few pieces that are uncontrollable. Somebody might be late, or that audio or something might be out of sync. But in those moments, you can't really lose control, or you can't say, "Oh, scratch it," because when you panic, the crew panics.
That's right.
So when you keep that composure, it kind of flows to everyone else.
All right, everybody, we have made it to the end of our show where we have been reviewing season 2 of the Bronx Edulution. 10 episodes in the can. I am so grateful for your support. I'm so grateful for your attention and for all of the people that took a moment to send an email, make a phone call, pull us aside as you see us walking around campus. I don't even have other words to say other than thank you, right? Continue to support local community television. It's through the support of generous patrons like yourselves that we're able to bring positive shows like the Bronx Edulution directly to you. I want to thank our director, Mr. Benaiah War, for all of his support along the way, and thank you also to the crew and tech team who allowed us to utilize this space in new and engaging ways to keep each episode unique. Please like and share the Bronx Edulution from our YouTube page at BronxNet TV. Remember, you already have all of the tools that you need to bring your vision to life. You can visit our website at www.bronxnet.org/education to learn more about how BronxNet can help support you on your journey. Now, we've gotten a lot of questions about what are we going to do in season 3 to make it different than season 2. So it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce you to some of our interns here at BronxNet so that you can see how the youth are going to be driving innovation. These are all 11th and 12th graders from right here, schools in the Bronx, and I couldn't be more excited to be able to sit down with them starting next week, and we're going to start hammering out what season 3 is going to look like, what types of shows and ideas and thoughts are interesting to them, how they can play a role in help co-hosting the show or running the camera or helping us with audio and lights. Again, you don't have to always be in front of the camera just to be in entertainment. And so I leave you with love. I leave you with prayer that you and your family are going to be well. And I ask that at all times you show grace and mercy to others, because without one another, we're not going to get anywhere. We are stronger together. So please stay safe and happy and Bronx strong all day long. Come on, crew.